do not want to have anything to do with him anymore. I think a few days ago, it was reported that the US says he's no longer welcome in the United States. And some very strong words used by the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, to describe Ibrahim Rasool. He describes him as a race-baiting Trump hater. Race-baiting Trump hater. This is a post he actually made on X, formerly Twitter. Ibrahim Rasool is a race-baiting politician who hates America and hates at POTUS, that is the President of the United States. That's what the POTUS, stands for. In statements from its presidency and international relations department, South Africa called the move regrettable, but said it remained committed to building mutually beneficial relations and would address the matter via diplomatic channels. Rubio reposted an article from right-wing website Breitbart that quoted the envoy as saying that Trump was leading a white supremacist movement. He must depart by March 21, so today is March 17, that's some 4 days more until he leaves the United States. He must depart by March 21, a State Department spokesperson said last Saturday. News websites Semaphore reported this week that Rasool has failed to secure routine meetings with State Department officials and key Republican Party figures since Trump, a Republican, took office in January. We also understand that one of the reasons for him being expelled is the fact that the South African government has been vehemently opposed to the genocide. That's happening at Gaza. At Gaza, and so that's one of the reasons for which they do not want they do not want to have anything to do with the ambassador to the United States. Very interesting, very, very interesting. I'm itching to hear from Dr. Marzouk on this particular subject matter. Dr. Marzouk, let's hear from you.
Thank you. I first recognize the sovereignty of the United States of America. It is a sovereign state. It can take its decision. It can do whatever it wants in its interest. But Trump and his gang of white supremacists are very interesting guys. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. They should be the last to accuse anybody of racism. Because they have been products of racism.
Yeah.
The policy of Trump, called America First, right, is the highest form of racism decorated in nationalism. And even when nationalism assumes a certain dimension of disrespect for others, of disrespect for other races, of disrespect for other peoples, of disrespect for other cultures, it becomes a synonym of racism. Therefore, it is interesting that we are hearing this. So, my word is simple. Trump and his gang of white supremacists have no moral right to talk about racism. I repeat, Trump and his gang of white supremacists have no moral right at all to talk about racism. And let me repeat that when we are discussing Trump, it shouldn't be misinterpreted as America. Trump is not America. Trump and his gang of white supremacists are not America. They are part of America. And that's why I've started by saying that I respect the sovereignty of America. I respect America. America remains a great state, a great nation. But Trump and his gang of white supremacists should be called out. Trump and his gang of white supremacists do not have any moral right to accuse anybody of racism. First of all, have they been able to address the racial inequalities, obvious racial inequalities in American society? Have they been able to do that? What is the position of Trump in Gaza? Is Trump not complicit in the genocidal impunity in Gaza. And you think that it is not racism to support one race against another openly. The genocidal impunity by the Zionist state of Israel is impossible if it is not fueled by American complicity. And that is not racism. What is the crime of South Africa? It's simple. The ambassador refuses to be bullied by a gang of white supremacists. And let me be clear, black inferiority is oxygen to white supremacy. Once you as a black person decide to be inferior in the eyes of the white people, definitely your action alone becomes a propeller of white supremacy. The ambassador, the South African ambassador to the US refuses. He refuses to worship the white supremacy. He refuses to be bullied by these white supremacists, and that is his crime. And you know, South Africa has also been able to challenge the current global order, dominated by Western imperialism. For the first time, in fact, in an unprecedented show of action, it has taken the Palestinian issue to the world court, and it has won preliminary. And that alone angers America. That alone angers Trump and his white supremacists. So it is interesting. They should understand that in this issue, they are either basking in sweet falsehood or wallowing in bitter truth. The issue simply is that South Africa has refused to be bullied. And I'm happy about the approach of South Africa. Yes, diplomacy should continue to be applied. But at a stage, once Africa realizes that diplomacy can no longer be an effective tool, it should retaliate. It should sack the American ambassador. Sometimes we as Africans should be ready to eat the grass of Ethiopia rather than to become the slaves in Pennsylvania. I'm telling you, we should be ready to eat the grass of Ethiopia rather than to become mere slaves in Pennsylvania. We should also have a sense of self-dignity. Success is not only in America. In America cannot constitute the world. We recognize the greatness of America, and we want to believe that the greatness of America does not lie in its glorification of racism. Yeah. The greatness of America lies in its glorification of humanism. I know Trump and his white supremacists don't even like multilateralism. That is their right. They campaign on racism. They use the vehicle of racism to come to power. And all their actions so far are indications of the racist policies that they have decided to leverage. But they should understand that racism cannot make America great. In fact, American greatness is highly due to its diversity of cultures. So Trump and his gang of white supremacists should be the last people to complain about racism. As for South Africa, it will continue to stand up to the white supremacists, whether Trump is in power or in opposition. South Africa. And another hidden crime of South Africa is its little role in BRICS. Yeah. Because the BRICS agenda is to tame the dollar, is to ensure that dollar is no longer the single currency that controls global trade, to dismantle the economic supremacy of the dollar. And that is another crime of South Africa. if Trump can be open in terms of Islamophobia, in terms of racism, in terms of insults against black people, then he should not at all think that everybody is ready to worship white supremacy. Let me repeat, Trump is different from America. Trump and his gang of white supremacists are different from America. America remains a great nation, and America should continue to have a respectable place in the community of civilized nations. But Trump and his gang of white supremacists should be the last to accuse anybody of racism. South Africa will continue to question the Western dominance, particularly the American dominance of global affairs. And it is good, thankfully, that South Africa is doing so within the context of rationality, objectivity, and legality. South Africa is not using any untoward means. It is using rational, decent, legal means to challenge the American dominance of global affairs. And South Africa should be prepared for the worst. What Trump has done is his right. He's right because he is a leader of a sovereign nation. And as a sovereign nation, America has every right to take any decision. But let that decision also reflect the decency of international diplomacy. And I think it is important for America to understand that it does not have copyright to racism. It does not have copyright to impunity. It does not have copyright to slavery, mental slavery, cultural imperialism. It does not have it. South Africa, arise in your honor. Continue to show your strength. Continue to raise high the flag of African pride. And continue to stand up, not only to Trump and his white supremacists, but to all imperialists. I think African nations should do everything possible to give South Africa a kind of moral support that will energize it to continue to fight for the common man. Let Trump understand that his actions and inactions in Gaza alone should be enough for him to stop from commenting on anything racial. Let me also make it clear that I do not stand for racism, whether by black or against black, whether by white or against white. I don't stand for racism. I stand for humanism. I strongly believe that racism is the culture of the animal kingdom, where anaconda moves with anaconda, jaguar with jaguar, tiger with tiger, monkey with monkey. I strongly believe that multilateralism, humanism, and love for everybody should be the guiding principles of humanity. The way Trump and his gang of white supremacists are conducting themselves is becoming a serious threat to global order. And I think the current global order should be reviewed to reflect humanism rather than racism. Right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Marzouk. I've been joined also by Mr. Solomon Owusu of the Afafranto movement. Yes, the butterfly movement.
It's a movement.
The movement for change.
It's a movement.
Mr. Owusu, good morning.
Good morning, Bless, and good morning to Doc.
How are you, sir?
God has done his bit. It's left for John Mahama and his administration to fulfill Article 36(1). So that is what all of us are hoping for.
No,
right.
He's a prophet. Yes, in a way, he's a son of a pastor, right? A reverend father. We've just discussed it.
Yes. Right. So, Mr. Owusu, I'll take your thoughts on this topic. As I sent you earlier, I'm sure you read a little bit about it, or something you're already privy to. Of course, the United States of America, they often feel hard done by when other countries that they feel that they are superior to decide not to kowtow to their demands. And of course, the Republic of South Africa is one of these countries. They have given their ambassador an ultimatum, March 21, which is 4 days away from today, to vacate or to leave the United States. Dr. Marzouk is saying that, look, of course, if you decide to met out such an action to me, you should be able to, I should also be able to respond in equal measure. The Republic of South Africa should also send the American ambassador to South Africa packing back to the United States. Yes, when diplomacy fails. Well, when diplomacy fails, because they have the South African government has already said that they are going to explore that avenue, that diplomatic avenue, have bilateral talks, and then see that if they can, resolve this impasse. But let me hear from you, Mr. Solomon Owusu, on this subject matter. Very interesting.
Thank you once again, and let me start from the angle of the failure of the African Union. You see, when you take the United States of America, as the name depicts, is an amalgamation of states that has made it so powerful. So that, for instance, if this matter was between South Africa and Pennsylvania, it could be dealt with on equal wavelength. We are talking about South Africa fighting a whole United States.
50 of them.
50 of them.
Yeah.
So that is where the differences come. And that is why I always will appeal to the conscience of African leaders to go back to on the drawing board to make sure that the unity of Africa is restored. We can't do it alone. You see, the problems that Ghana has, the problems that Cote d'Ivoire has, South Africa has, if all of us were to come together, there is no way, absolutely no way, any U.S. president can warn or threaten Africa. There is no way. By individual countries, you are going on your own strength, so you are vulnerable.
Yeah.
I'm a Trump supporter. I love Trump, but I disagree with him on this.
Yes.
But hey, that is the more reason why I love Trump. He is there to protect the interests of the United States of America. Because South Africa is involved in two international issues that do not inure to the benefit of the United States of America. One is the BRICS.
Yeah.
If the BRICS succeeds, we are likely not to have the US dollar as our international currency. And that will be the end of the United States of America. You understand? Now, South Africa is also fighting Israel. That is an ally of the United States. So what do we do?
A genocidal wing.
A genocidal wing
of the United States.
You understand? All of us know what Israel has done under Netanyahu in recent times. In this day and era, such an uncivilized act,
I'm telling you,
has taken place before all of us, before our eyes. But an ally is an ally. So they have to find a way of trying to let you shut up. Beyond that, there is also the factor of Elon Musk. Elon Musk has a problem with black South African.
Yeah.
So he is also hiding behind this administration to also to a certain scores back in South Africa. And if you realize or observe the South African political landscape, the Democratic Alliance, which is majority white party, is beginning to gain grounds. In fact, as we speak, they are in alliance with ANC. It is the reason why Ramaphosa is the president. Because Ramaphosa did not get, ANC did not get the much needed seat in parliament. And so if they are able to play their politics well, it will weaken the ANC the more, and what will happen? DA would ultimately be the president, have their candidate become the president, which would then, in the minds of many, revert the country back to apartheid.
Yeah. Return of the chains of apartheid.
You understand? So it's a strategy that is being implemented very well. But I believe that the solution does not lie with South Africa alone fighting.
Yes.
He must understand. All African countries must begin to understand that until the almost 1.4 billion human beings recognize that our unity is our solution, that we aren't going anywhere. We have a market of 3 trillion. If you have a market of 3 trillion and a population of 1.4 billion, why do you need Europe that is less than 500 million, America that is less than 500 million? Our population, the entire population of Africa, equals that of China, equals that of India. So if we are united, then the three of us become the powerhouses of this world. But we wouldn't do it, because we allow all manner of people to lead our countries. Putting round holes, square pegs in round holes. Yeah. They have no clue about how to lead a country, and they will be leading you. They take your money. Where do they invest it?
In Europe.
Europe and America. And that is why they are so empowered.
Yes.
Because if we do they will freeze it. Me that I do not have property in Europe, you think I care about them? No. You think I care about America? But those that have stolen in this country, your politicians that have stolen, all the resources that they have amassed, about 80% of it are scattered in various countries outside of Ghana and outside of Africa. If it were even in Africa, we would take it like that. Outside of Africa. So that America can say, I'm expelling your ambassador. And that will be news. If you expel my ambassador, I only expel yours. It's as simple. Reagan said, if you pull a guy, I pull a guy. We will say that it speaks sense. But one is disadvantage, because they even expect financial aid from the United States of America.
Yeah.
But I am at a loss as to why South Africa would depend on financial aid. If you go to South Africa and with the levels of infrastructure, the levels of development, all the big banks on the African continent are supposed to be coming from Africa. The Standard Bank, the FNB, the ABSA, and so on and so forth. Why must they be relying on financial aid from the United States? Once again, mismanagement. So AU must be activated. Nkrumah's dreams, together with the founding members of the AU, must be restored. Let us work towards Africa unity and not Africa disunity. And once that is done, Trump can be serving the interests of the United States of America. In the same way, all African leaders must be serving the interests of their people. So to that extent, I love Trump. He's doing what to make America great again. You also in Africa, you are in Ghana, you are president, you must make Ghana great again. By making sure that it is only policies that inure to the benefit of the people of this country that are implemented. And not to serve the whims and caprices of some westernized people. We sit in this country and you have foreign ambassadors who poke their nose into our local politics with impunity. With impunity. Some of them even go on radio and talk as though they own this country.
I'm telling you.
When you are criminally siphoning monies from our people at the embassies, you take their money on the pretext of giving them money. You say you have bounced them. If you have bounced me, why wouldn't you give me my money?
Yes.
TV. Every morning, go to the United States of America embassy. More than 300 people are going in for visa. Take your calculator. It's 2,400. Multiply by 8.
And how many people will even be granted?
All of them, about 2 people will be granted visa. The rest are bounced. They take that money. They go and hide somewhere. They say, "I've given us grant." Which grant? Go to the Canadian embassy here.
It's a nice song.
Yeah.
Go to the European embassies. Because our political leaders don't care about the youth. they see these, they are happy. They are happy. When governments come, their focus is that we improve passport. Passport acquisition means you want more Ghanaians to even leave the country. But the young Ghanaian that is going to acquire passport, the next thing that will come in the mind is that I want to travel out of this country. And when they travel outside, do they come back? We are shipping all our human resources out. So which human beings are we going to use to develop this country? Let's think about these things. I have no problem with what he has done. Trump, he's defending his country. In the same way, we must also defend ours. All right.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Solomon Owusu. Let's move away from the United States of America and South Africa. We come back to Ghana. There are a number of issues that we need to be discussing this morning, or we need to discuss this morning. The special prosecutor and former finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta appear to be at war. The former finance minister has sued the special prosecutor, or the office of the special prosecutor, for issuing an arrest warrant for him and declaring him a fugitive from justice. He has also sued some operatives of the national security who stormed his residence when he was away. But the OSP has responded this morning. There's a release. I'm going to read that release out. It says, press release, case updates, Kenneth Nanaya Ofori-Atta. The Office of the Special Prosecutor acknowledges a lawsuit filed by Kenneth Nanaya Ofori-Atta contesting the OSP's prior declaration that he was a wanted person and a fugitive from justice. Mr. Ofori-Atta formally requested the OSP to remove his name from the OSP's list of wanted persons, with the assurance to the OSP that he would make himself available for questioning on a definite date. The OSP, in good faith and on the basis of Mr. Ofori-Atta's assurance, granted his request and removed his name from the OSP's list of wanted persons, pending his personal attendance at the OSP on the definite date. Mr. Ofori-Atta is mandatorily required to appear in person before the OSP on 2nd June 2025. If Mr. Ofori-Atta fails to attend the OSP on the scheduled date, he shall be re-entered on the OSP's list of wanted persons, and the OSP shall consider him a fugitive from justice, whereupon the OSP will cause the issuance of an Interpol red notice in his regard, and also cause the initiation of extradition proceedings in any jurisdiction in which he may be found. The OSP remains unwavering in its commitment to enforce the law and ensuring that Mr. Ofori-Atta answers for his role as the prime suspect in 5 ongoing corruption and corruption-related investigations. Kisi Japan, the Special Prosecutor, 17th March 2025. Today. Right. So as you can see on your screens there, that's the press statement, or the latest updates as far as the Ken Ofori-Atta issue is concerned. I'm going to start with Mr. Owusu on this topic. There's an interesting, perspective I read on the internet earlier, and how sometimes, or most times, if you look at our justice system, or if you look at the justice system, it is the rich that can always afford time before they face the full rigors of the law. So the post describes, justice as an issue of economics, where the person or the party that has the economic might would fight a particular case to the death, And so in this instant, if you try to put this Ofori-Atta case side by side, what I'm trying to say is the fact that this is somebody who has been at the helm of Ghana's financial, ministry. and has taken some decisions that people believe were inimical to the interest of the Ghanaian people, and by so doing has caused us some, huge sums of money. Now, a case has been filed against him by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. What he has done now is that he's also sued the OSP for issuing that warrant, and that could drag. He could bring forth the best lawyers who would drag this issue back and forth before the substantive case of the OSP is heard. It could be several years, and then everybody even becomes disinterested in the case. Or if God permits, by the time it's done and the MPP is in power, it becomes, the usual it becomes another process. So I want to start with Mr. Solomon also on this particular subject matter. Is there anything going on that we do not know? Because some people have also shared other, very interesting opinions that this could be something that the OSP is doing in conjunction with the former finance minister. It's something that they are doing because by law, if you cannot sue a person twice for the same case. I don't know if I've said it the right way. So if the OSP, who was appointed by the Eswal administration, fights this case, it becomes a foolish case, for the want of a better word. Then it means that this administration cannot again sue the special prosecutor for it. Sue Kenneth Ofori-Atta for it. Is that the case?
Bless, I have already made my opinion known about this the very day.
Okay.
That you see, if you're on the highway, if you're on the street, there are certain strategies that are street matters. Mm-hmm. So, if you recall, National Security entered Kenneth Ofori-Atta's house or home. The following day, he was declared as a fugitive of justice. The next day, he was declared as wanted. The next thing was that the OSP had written to inform the country that his name as being wanted has been removed from the wanted list. The day he was declared as fugitive, I said, this one is to whitewash Kenneth Ofori-Atta. And if people they thought I was just conjecturing. But if you understand what they wanted to do, just make mistakes or take missteps so that the person you are accusing can point holes into it, and then the general public will have some sympathy that, why are you trying to persecute someone? Then all of a sudden it will die. This current administration, John Mohammed's administration, must note that one of the reasons why they won an emphatic victory was his promise to recover all loot.
Yeah.
At the time the New Patriotic Party took over the reins of governance in 2017, the total debt of this country was 122 billion. As of December 2024, according to the last budget statement, this country had borrowed and were owing 721 or so billion. What it means is that even if we were to add the interest component of the 122 billion, it means this administration borrowed in excess of 400 billion. Because at the point, the exchange rate also affected what they had. Now, you have to be able to juxtapose the amount borrowed to amount of development, because development must go with borrowings.
Yep.
It seems to me that there is a huge disparity between how much was borrowed and the actual development that we had. So it calls for a thorough investigation into the activities of the Eswal administration.
Right.
We went for various loans. And the last time I said that if the people of this country in voting, if I had my own way, that is why I voted against my MP, Dakwa, because she was part of the problem. Ken Ofori-Atta, during the censorship motion, what did he say? He went to Parliament and said, but every loan that was approved that you are accusing me, that we went for, that you are accusing me, was approved by Parliament. You are all part. What due diligence did you as members of Parliament do? Why did you not stop these loans on the only condition that a finance minister that is asking us to borrow, his company enjoys from the borrowing? He went ahead and approved. So based on that, I felt that MP over there did not deserve to go back to Parliament again because she was not representing me well. I voted against her. I voted, in fact, that was the first vote I did before I voted for Mr. Chemante. You understand? Now, see what they are doing with this. Ken Ofori-Atta is hiding somewhere, maybe in the US. You know, in the Bible, they say Paul's letters to the people of Corinthians. That is what Ken Ofori-Atta is doing with us. Ken Ofori-Atta's letters to the people of Ghana. He is hiding somewhere, and if he's not writing, he's suing. If you are being accused of a criminal conduct, it does not lie in your mouth to say, my lawyers are representing us. And you and I, would we have that facility?
No.
The police, they invite us with authority. Sometimes they even call you in the morning, I need you this year, but if you don't come, coming for you. When your case is only about a mobile phone that is lost. This one is all about a mobile phone that is lost. We are talking about billions of Ghana cedis. SMA deal is there. How the PDS came about is there. We are talking about tax refund. We are talking about a lot of infractions that has led this country on its knees. And someone is sitting in America and writing to us, and the OSP is also writing. So if I tell you that this one is a game,
it's a writing game. But
the NDC must note that we will go back to the polls in 2028. Whether it's the OSP that is playing games with Ken or not, the buck stops with the president. Because for nothing, the national service issue found expression in the president's statement. You remember? Yeah. How come some of these things are not finding expressions in the president's delivery? The scandals are not only limited to what happened at the NSS. It's all over the place. Even with that, the lady came, went, the other one too. Now everything is maya. We don't even know the head and tail of anything. That is why Ken Ofori-Atta is still writing. Because the issue still remains that you are under investigation. If what the OSP is saying is anything to go by, we need you to come and answer questions. You are not concerned about that too. You are concerned about the fact that the OSP used a media house to announce that you were a fugitive. You understand? But which law prevents or bans the OSP from using a media house to announce? The suit that has been filed by Ken Ofori-Atta, is it not being discussed on various news portals?
It is.
What is wrong with it? Now, he is saying that the OSP must not resort to the media, but rather respond to all the issues that have been raised by his lawyers and then handle the matter with his lawyers. Hey, Ken Ofori-Atta, were your lawyers the finance ministers of this country? I mean, how can we be treated so low like this? But it has happened because people in authority are not interested in Ken Ofori-Atta's matter. People in authority, they are so okay with what has happened to this country. People in authority, maybe some of them too want to engage in those acts that has happened in the past. So we will not go after anybody. But the Ghanaian remains focused on moving, on waving, on shaking. That these same issues will be discussed in 2028. Look, Ken Ofori-Atta tells us that on the 2nd of January, he wrote to the former Chief of Staff, that he was going to travel out of this country. He says on the 22nd of January, he wrote to Chief of Staff, the current Chief of Staff, that he was going out. I mean, do you need permissions from the Chief of Staffs before you can travel? And when these two Chief of Staffs were informed, did they also inform the security agencies that Mr. Ofori-Atta says he's traveling? Why did Mr. Ofori-Atta not write early enough to the OSP? But unfortunately for Mr. Ofori-Atta and the OSP, the Ghanaian will rise up. The street boys will rise up against this. The impunity that has been caused will not be allowed to go unpunished. People are in Sawam because they stole 5,000 cities. People are in Sawam because they stole chicken, sheep, some of them only plantain. They are in Sawam. Some are there because they took one roll of hair. You have come. The country is so much soaked in debt. Come and explain to us, and it is a matter. Now it is back and forth. So tomorrow, if you go and arrest, or you find a case with a friend of mine or myself, and I also travel to Dubai and start writing to you, would you have any cause to complain? It's a bad precedent. It's so bad, so bad, that you must not allow it to happen. But you see, it won't happen because I have said that Ken Ofori-Atta and his people, they don't fear anyone here. They believe that this country is for them. He believes that it's for them. And that is how come it is happening. So, if the article that he read to me is anything to go by, he has captured my thoughts. Justice is only there for the poor. If you are a poor man and you have an issue, that's where the justice system takes it very serious. Rich men, they can only be writing among themselves back and forth letters, play to the gallery, and at the end of the day, they will drag. So now, before you even cross this hurdle of going to court to explain yourself, one of the reliefs he's seeking is to perpetually injunct the OSP from further making pronouncements on the matter. And that before he even attends to the OSP's invitation, the OSP has to deal with all the issues that have been raised by his lawyers. And you know when they will be able to deal with those issues. Because once the OSP writes to the lawyers will write back, so you have to respond. You see how they are playing with our minds. They are playing with our minds. But I don't blame them. We need only one benevolent, serious-minded person to be the president of this country. As this impunity, patriotic leader, and this impunity will stop. The idea of seeing state funds, resources, as something that you can do anything anyhow with it will stop. You look straight into the faces of our mothers and fathers and give them haircuts. Dr. Michael Ejekum, what killed him? At least he told us, he told the entire world, that money that he has saved for his pension, all of it wiped out because of the banking sector cleanup. We are told that the banking sector cleanup, we used more than 29 billion cedis to solve a problem that could have costed only 9 billion. Who would do that? Who would do that? Who would do that? Come and help us to unravel some of the mysteries. You are somewhere writing epistles to us and going to court. You know the number of people who have been declared in various newspapers as being wanted? Why? Then they are not human beings. If I were Ken Ofori-Atta and I have nothing to answer, the moment he declared me wanted, the next available fighter will be asking, what am I running to? That you are declaring me wanted. I'm here. Do whatever you want to do to me. Ask me all the necessary questions. But you are still writing there without attending to his invitation. He is also writing, even by 2nd of June. Look at that. Look at that. Why did we go wrong? I mean, I want to understand. Why did we go wrong? This political class who are shortchanging the people of this country, who are taking everybody for a ride, one day it will explode. Let's watch it. One day. There is a house in Obuasi behind the Lake Glace Sports Stadium. It's called One Day. One day, watch it all. If you know how people are hustling in the system, that every day when you come, what you are telling us is a billion. You mention it just like that.
Yeah.
And you are not taking any steps to make amends. It will fall in our face. So, well, I don't blame him. The laws are not working. And so he can choose to do what he's doing. He can choose to do what he's doing. But this administration must be serious with the issues on corruption. Corruption-related matters must be investigated. The oral, I understand, have submitted their report, but it doesn't end there. Because oral means operation recover all loot. No loot has been recovered, so your work is not done. The work is not done. When you begin to lose such issues, then it frightens the Ghanaian, because it means you are not going to even fight Galamsey, which was also a major issue during the campaign. As we speak, MPP gangs who were in the bushes doing Galamsey have been replaced with MPP ones, NDC ones. Tanon Nimre Forest have been entered into, Amia Forest has been entered into, and they are doing it with impunity. I saw a video where NDC constituency chairman was fighting the military, that he was not going to allow the military to enter their town because the military were going to prevent Galamsey. I said, hey! So impunity, but these military men, how do they recruit them? The military of old, the mere mention of military men coming even sends shivers down the spines. But this was not peak confrontation. Because they have been told that if they dare, maybe they will be sacked from their jobs. Let the state be weak, and all of us will be weak.
The officer was displaying diplomacy.
During the election, Constituency Secretary Opili was fighting with a military man with a gun. Look, when you see a military man wearing the attire, he's wearing the spirit of the nation. For you to overpower the military man means you have overpowered the state. And people were hailing him. I said, hey, you don't know the meaning of what the guy has did. He showed how weak the state was. And are you happy that someone is exposing your state that is so weak? So let us be serious with how we deal with matters.
Right. I'll read a few messages, then I come to Dr. Marzouk. Bless, the NDC is treating Ofori-Atta with kids' gloves. For the oral to be effective, set up a special corruption tribunal to deal with the oral cases solely. Okay? You didn't tell me your name and where you sent your message from. Good morning, Bless. The exit of Dr. Dampare has received a massive support nationwide due to associations with the Ache Mafia. This is because Dampare was more of a hatchet man for the Ache Mafia instead of being a loyal servant to the people. Even the heavens greeted the news with showers. Okay, all right, okay, that's fine. Let's do some more messages. Bless, the AG should take over this Ken Ofori-Atta matter. OSP is just playing on our intelligence. We saw what happened to Cecilia Dapa's case. We don't trust the OSP. It is a hoax. Stephen from Kwapenya. Thank you, Stephen, for your message. Musa Abatwa in Asawasi says, it's becoming increasingly frustrating to see the office of the special prosecutor treat former finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta with such leniency, giving him until June 2, 2025 to appear for questioning. It's just too much. This delay only fuels the perception that there's a lack of urgency and accountability. At this rate, it feels like the OSP is more interested in playing politics than actually holding people to account. Samuel Ansre from Accra. I'm once again appealing to Kwesi Pratt, the Socialist Movement of Ghana, CBP, NCPP, and other progressive interested groups and individuals to consider publishing books and booklets about Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. We have one here. Tomorrow I'll bring it on the show so that if you want to buy, you buy. All right. This one here says, it's high time the world united against the apartheid policies and Western hegemony of Donald Trump and his gang of white racists who are bent on oppressing the rest of the world under the guise of economic sanctions and high tariffs on imported goods. The world body must also boycott American goods, their currency, and close down their embassies and military camps to let them know that America cannot exist without the raw materials and slave labor which they used to develop. Okay. This one here says that, good morning, please greet Dr. Marzouk for me. Osman sent this one.
Osman, thank you.
Right. I wonder why people started praising the new government. My brother, Dumso is gradually surfacing. We are grateful for the return of Dumso, okay? Well, right. Okay. Right. Good morning, Pan-African TV. Thanks for the good works. The movement for change guy is a very serious person. He's called Solomon Owusu. I love him very much. He's very bold and courageous. Lechu from Akachi. Thank you, Lechu, for your message. All right. On that note, let's proceed with the conversation.
But he has not spoken about the matter.
No. He's proceeding on that. Yes. We are not moving away from the topic. Yes. Right. Yes. So, Dr. Marzouk, let me hear you. Do you share a similar sentiment with Mr. Solomon Owusu on, how this is playing out?
Not similar, the same.
The same, all right.
Yes, the same. The same. And let me say that, gimmick or not gimmick, the approach of the OSP exposes a number of defects in our legal system.
Right.
Particularly in our justice delivery system. A number of, you've mentioned one. Instead of justice delivery, we are rather witnessing justice for sale, right? And it is the rich who can afford justice. Of course, yes, there is a legal maxim quoted by the lawyers that justice delayed, justice denied. But I also believe that justice rushed, justice aborted. That's my own addition. You see, the way the special prosecutor handles the issue is symptomatic of the way sometimes the Department of the Attorney General or the police can file what we call frivolous charges. Frivolous charge. They know very well that these charges are frivolous. Yeah. They cannot stand the test of legal scrutiny. So they are frivolous. So they give the defense lawyer the opportunity. In fact, this is a golden opportunity for the defense. Just dismantle the charges, and the person is set free. That's how I see in the case of the OSP versus the former finance minister. Let me also say that we are a nation, a Republican democracy indeed, and therefore we should be seen to be encouraging the culture of law.
Yeah.
And so no matter the crime of or alleged crime of the former minister, he is entitled to the legal protection. Legal protection, especially the legal tradition of innocence before his guilts are established by a court of competent jurisdiction. I think he's entitled to that. But he should not be treated as a special person. That is my problem. He should not at all be treated as a special person. I strongly believe, why would he even go out for treatment? And that calls to the fore another area of misgovernance in Africa. Kufuor, we all saw Kufuor. Kufuor never went out for his treatment. He said he wouldn't go. Yes. You have been a finance minister, and you have supervised our health care. because you were expected to release money for the improvement of our health care.
Yeah.
And you don't even trust our own health care. You think that you are entitled to the treatment outside. And in the name of treatment, you can live there and write letters that can be described as whimsical and capricious. And you think, oh, no. It's a child's play, I'm telling you. If you look at what is happening, it's nothing more than theatricals. I'm telling you. So, you see, we should be very serious. I strongly believe that the finance minister should be given all the necessary legal protection. But he should not be pampered to the extent that he can manipulate our judicial system. And even to me, I mean, let me add another dimension of the discourse. My brother Solo, I don't see the value addition of the Office of Special Prosecutor.
Yes.
It's of no use.
It's of no use.
What value, since its formation, what value has it added?
You are supposed to go and recover
loot.
How much have you recovered?
How much? And what crime, what corruption has it fought so far? What corruption? All those alleged to have been found in the web of corruption have rather been pampered. So what is the value of the Office of the Special Prosecutor? I don't see the value. Especially when the former Special Prosecutor made it clear that he was frustrated. So I am even calling for the dissolution of that office. I'm telling you that I don't see the value of that office. Yes. As for the beauty of it on paper, fine.
But
yes,
its efficacy has left much to be desired.
At all, the efficacy.
Yeah.
And we are fed up with the rhetorics. We now want to enjoy an iota of pragmatics. Let's move from rhetorics to pragmatics. So if we believe that for 4 years, or more than 4, right? Almost more than 4 years.
Yes.
More than 4 years. The office has not been able to recover one loot. The office has not been able to prevent corruption. The office has not been able to fight for the country and to fight against any corrupt act in a way of punishing those caught in the corrupt act. I'm telling you, that office is not fit to exist. So President John Mahama should think of scrapping that office. I strongly believe that it is a gimmick and it is part of the set of tools to throw dust into the eyes of the Ghanaian. Thank you.
Well, there's been budgetary allocation for the Office of the Special Prosecutor in the 2025 budget. So it means that if it is to be scrapped, we are not going to be seeing that, at least not this year. As to whether Useki Sage-Aben would stay on as Special Prosecutor, that's also another conversation. But let me continue with a few more messages. Samuel Answer from Accra wants me to read his message entirely, and so I'd grant him that. He says, I'll keep sending this post until my request is considered. I'm once again appealing to Kwesi Pratt Jr. and Socialist Movement of Ghana, CPP, PNC, PPP, and other progressive interested groups and individuals to consider publishing books and booklets about Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and distribute to our schools and the public free of charge. I was in primary 4 when Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's government was overthrown. I wore the pioneer scarf in the collar of my school shirt. Okay, you're a veteran. If you're in primary 4, when then, senior citizen. Yeah.
We are sorry for
I'm terribly sorry for not reading your message entirely.
1966.
Yeah, so, and he was 4 years old.
4 years old. That's
so
2025.
so 1962.
So So plus 4, so he's now 63 years.
63 years.
He's a senior citizen.
Yeah, senior citizen.
We should be very sorry for not reading his
But you read it on the first
yes, but not entirely.
Oh, okay.
I don't say I dismissed it, but I thought he only wanted books of Kwame Nkrumah, and we sell some here, so tomorrow.
Then let him also understand that you have the books here.
Yeah, we have some.
I have time to read it.
Except that it is not for free.
Yes.
But I understand where he's coming from. I mean, he doesn't want the history of Ghana to be lost, to some people.
It's part of the intellectual genocide.
I'm telling you. But I'm happy that this administration is reinstating, particularly 1st July.
It's very important.
It's very important. It made absolutely no sense that the previous administration. Yeah, I mean.
The Republicans start to say you are not celebrating.
Sometimes ideologies can blind people.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, and that is why you don't have to be irresponsibly an ideologue.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, ideologies.
Yeah.
Why will you try to downplay the whole national achievement?
This one was not even about ideology because Kufuor was from the UP stock. He became president.
Yes.
He never
for once thought about
removing the holiday status of 1st July. This was just fighting for the interest of JB Dankwa. Oh, someone came and thought that I have to fight. And all the entire party followed him. Cowards, they were just following him.
So the
significance of it.
So this one is more of nepotism than ideology.
And if he did not fight hard enough, he was going to name the whole University of Ghana after David Dankwa. He was going to do. He attempted and he realized that hey, this one is also going to work.
He received stateful position.
And then make a tree.
It was so needless. I mean, it was the very height of
this 4th August or so. People don't even know the significance of that day. We know of our Republic Day. And he came to change it.
Yeah, he came to change it.
Because it was your uncle or so.
When he instituted 7th January as Constitution Day, who asked you? Who asked you?
Who asked you to
asked for
Constitution Day? Who asked you? Needless things. So when you begin to do things like that, nobody pumped you. They leave you to go and invest in cathedral. This man and then invested in serious matters. Let them do.
Right. I'm just opening Facebook. I'm reading the sources. Baumia would have polled 30% if 2024 elections was held in August. That is
not even true. Would have polled 12%. In fact, this figure of 41 is artificial. That we investigated. And he then is saying that is also part of the problem.
Well,
I have seen him try to distance himself from that. For Christ's sake,
the former majority leader.
He was the majority leader. He was the leader of government business. Every loan that went to Parliament, he pushed it. Because it to cabinet to go and decide. They will bring it to you. You have to go and do all the maneuvers with the opposition. That this one you have to agree. Especially when we had 137 Parliament. A lot of negotiations. He led them. What were the advice that he gave to the president and his finance minister that you were destroying the country? You didn't do any of this. You allowed yourself to be used, and later they dumped you. Now you are speaking like a parrot. I don't take such people serious. Going around saying this, that, but you were there. He said the NPP needed another can as the leader. In a democratic dispensation, if you know you want Dr. Mazouk to be the leader, what you have to do is to go behind the scenes and work hard for him, so that you protect the unity of the party. Now things are falling apart. Now you have seen that the party has been destroyed beyond repairs. So you want to distance yourself. Any least opportunity now is more than a party computer. Leading bogus reports. I shall dare you. Go and see what they wrote. One day, come and discuss it here. He led it. That because Dr. Baumia was visiting Manshia Palace, it infuriated a lot of Northerners, for which reason they did not vote for Baumia. How can you write this in a report? How on earth? How do you even draw in chieftaincy into someone's defeat?
I'm telling you, that is irresponsible.
And this report was commissioned by you.
highly irresponsible.
You saw it and you put in a report.
This is irresponsible.
You understand?
Ethnic biography.
That is it.
Yes.
But he has written it.
No.
And because people were so angry. People of northern extraction were so angry that if you won the election, you were still going to cede the seat of government to Manshia, and that is why they voted against it. Why you won the 2017 election? Why are you not going to Manshia in 2016?
No.
That's. And the person speaking.
What can any government add to the dignity of Manshia? Manshia is already global. Yes, it's already globally recognized.
But you did it.
If Manshia is not satisfied with what God has given it, then of course I cannot think of anything. No government can add any addition of value.
Government that will expire in 4 years or 8 years.
Yes, Manshia.
Which president will last more than 8 years?
No.
But the people that are pity most are those that even going for position here.
I'm telling
you, you are out of the
yes,
and you are joining me on the street. And
you see, even I'm sorry to use this word. The West idiot knows very well that NDC is more popular in the north than MP.
That's the point.
Yeah.
You don't need any statistics.
It has been so.
You don't need any scientific data to prove that.
You understand? And you know it.
You know it.
Yet you decided to go and do otherwise.
What?
You lose an election, you are finding all sort of excuses.
Yes.
Look, in 2013, when the NPP lost the Supreme Court case, you know what they did? They said Otumfo had gone to bribe the judges.
Can you
so everything, NPP, everything they want to, if you want to have their freedom, must they bring in the name of Otumfo to come and cover for their nonsense?
Oh no. And they should know. They should be the first to know.
But they don't care. They don't care.
The dignity of Otumfo.
They don't care.
It's about partisan politics.
They don't care.
Yeah.
You lost an election because the economy was so good, so bad, everybody felt it. We couldn't breathe at a point. We were telling you that look, the system was so hard.
Yeah.
You said no, because of Russia, Ukraine, because of COVID. Russia, Ukraine, COVID. You have lost an election. Now you are telling people that because someone visited here, what sort of logic is this?
But was it only Manshia that he visited? He visited Yabongura. He visited Yana. He visited.
They said as for Manshia, he was going there 2 minutes.
But they should also know that MPP. Yes, that's the stronghold of MPP. They should know that.
You lost an election.
So if he goes to Manshia, if I have the opportunity to go to Manshia every day, I will go.
You go.
Yes, I will go.
You see, our politicians, we don't learn.
What?
We don't learn. We always take the people for granted. And I am praying that the Ghanaian must be, the minds and the souls must be open as we go forward. So that we begin to see people for who they are.
No.
And not to take their words hook, line, and sinker when they are promising. Look at them, analyze them, and you will see that these people, he's only talking.
Oh no!
Can't help in any way. Can you imagine all of a sudden people that mismanage the economy, they are now the spokespersons of the opposition, and they are telling you that this one is no good. That look at us, and you just left power. What did you do? You.
That's the hypocrisy of politics.
Hypocrisy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, complete hypocrisy. Oh no. But then let me advise that when you lose and you don't apply patience, you will lose more. I'm telling you.
I think that's the
but when you lose power
and
you don't exercise patience, you will lose your dignity. You will lose your respect. You will lose your wisdom. So please, power is transient. You have lost it today, you may gain it another day.
Serious political parties, when they lose elections, what they do is that the think tanks.
Yes.
What is lacking in all the political parties is that we don't have think tanks. We don't use research to assess strengths and weaknesses.
Yes.
So what are they saying? About 2 million or so people did not vote, and that is why the NPP lost. That is the case. What is the guarantee? Let's assume that 2 million people did not vote. What is the guarantee that the 2 million people would have voted for the NPP? Is that the way you do analysis? How can you imagine? And they are running with it. And I say, hey, how did this party degenerate into such a low level?
So it means that we have the tanks, but we don't have the things.
Hey!
I'll do some more messages. Good morning, Bless, and your panelists. I backed the OSP responding to Ken Ofori-Atta after his lawsuit, saying he would be declared wanted again if he refuses to appear on the set date. I am beginning to feel that Ken Ofori-Atta is trying to evade justice. We Ghanaians are all by him, but he should also not just be responding and talking into the air. We want action. Suglo Ibrahim from Nadoli Kalio, thank you. Suleiman Amubarak says good morning. Good morning, Suleiman. Bless, the AG should take over this Ken Ofori-Atta case. The OSP is playing with our intelligence, okay? Julie Belinda Aubrey says, we need our money now, patient recover or loot. George Edu Mensah says, please finish me with the prices of the Kwame Nkrumah's books. I think I'll try my best and get it for you. George Edu Mensah, I'll respond to this your message later. Umar Musa Azuma says good morning. Good morning, Umar. Francis Asenso says we should be discussing food security as well. Okay. Mano James says the OSP and Ofori-Atta are playing with the minds of Ghanaians. Okay. Patrick Kingetia says, one rule of what, Mr. Solomon Wusu? Julie Belida says, good morning to you all. Blessings. Good morning, Pan-Africa TV and the panelists. Please help us as Africans. I saw a very disturbing video that shows some people purported to be Africans butchered somewhere, they say in Morocco. The caption says about 700 Africans killed because Morocco doesn't want Africans in Morocco. Please investigate on our behalf as Africans and let the appropriate authorities take it up, please. Okay.
Maybe another country, not Morocco.
Well, pushing to join the ECOWAS.
They wanted to join the ECOWAS. Moroccans are very good people.
Right.
Moroccans, Tunisians,
Egyptians.
They are not.
Musa Amata says it's becoming
increasingly
it is becoming increasingly frustrating to see the office of the special prosecutor treat former finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta with such leniency. Giving him until June 2025 to appear for questioning is just too much. This delay only fuels the perception that there's a lack of urgency and accountability. At this rate, it feels like the OSP is more interested in playing politics than actually holding people to account. I'll read this final message, and it's coming from Alhaji Hamza from Pig Farm. He says, good morning. Of course. My brother, if care is not taken, this issue of Ken Ofori-Atta and the OSP is not going to end anywhere. In my humble opinion, the OSP is not ready to take on Ken Ofori-Atta. He's only trying hard to play with our intelligence. In my humble opinion, the AG should take this case from the OSP and handle it himself. Plus, we're talking about an amount of $58 million of the poor taxpayers' money, including some assets belonging to the state. My brother, this government cannot afford to fail the good people of this country. Ghanaians voted for the NDC based on the promises we made to fight corruption. Ramadan Mubarak to my brother Haj Marzouk, of course. Tell him I have
Ramadan Kareem.
All right. Right, so we'll proceed to our final topic for this morning's discussion, and it has got to do with the outgone Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ekufu Dampare. He's no longer the IGP. Francis Tete Yono is the new IGP as appointed by President John Dramani Mahama. There are some new security heads too, relative to, for instance, the immigration service, the prisons. The prisons one, there's an interesting story I've heard about it. Yeah. That the woman's husband is a Supreme Court judge and was on the 2012 election petition. And he was one of the people who ruled against, the petitioners. Against the petitioners. And so, I mean, time was actually due for this woman to ascend to that. But because her husband was part of, the people who ruled against the then candidate Kufuor decided to, mafia has more. That's an allegation, by the way, allegedly, right? I'm not saying this based on fact, but it appears that our TV is going off. If we can just quickly, turn it back on. But it appears that some people in the police service are very happy. Not some, a lot of people actually. They were jubilating upon hearing that the IGP had been relieved of his duties, to the very extent that we understand that some of them even wore white. They ditched their uniforms and wore white attires to work to signify victory in ousting the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ekofu Dampare. What is there that we do not know, Mr. Owusu? You are on the street. You're on the street. What is there that we don't know? Because it appears that the IGP has such a mien of somebody who has been working. He was working. I mean, when he was appointed, a lot of people applauded him for some reforms that he had brought to policing in the country. But it appears that there's a man who has some skeletons in his cupboard. I don't know what these skeletons are, but it appears that he has some skeletons in his cupboard. And you being on the street, I'm sure you know a thing or two. Can you finish us with some of these things that you know yourself?
Yes, Bless, let me say that IGP Dampare, former IGP, did more work in terms of the social media space, in terms of the public perception of his office than to the institution itself. Structures in the institution were not working under Dampare.
Okay.
When was the last time you spoke to any PRO of the police service? I mean, you could mention if you are those times there, Ofori, Akrofi, and so on. When an issue happened, especially in the Greater Accra, within a split second, you call a Fiatinge, and she will give you up to date or up to the minute, as it were, updates on the matter.
Yeah.
Under Dampare, he disabled all these outfits. People were so submitted into cover. They couldn't voice out. You dared not. He created a parallel system within the police service. He had his men within. But you see, the people that he was serving were less than those that were aggrieved. It will interest you to know that more than 80 investigators at a point came to me that they were due for promotion. They submitted their documents to me for me to go through.
And then they are satisfied all the provisions.
They are satisfied all the provisions. And these are crack investigators. I forwarded the issue even to the Ministry of Interior then. You promoted juniors against those that were due. So there was a huge problem within the police service. But like I said, it's like living with your father in the house. If your father is not giving you money and goes to town and then begins to give other children money, how would you go and convince those children that your father has been giving money, that your father is not good in the house? Because your father is serving them well out. You see him going to buy plantain on the street, dancing here and there. So to the minds of the public, he is doing well. But within the police service, his performance was very abysmal. And I'm also surprised that Parliament, as of now, has not released the full report of that investigation on the leak tape. Why did they not release it? I've seen an article that has been written by Atacha, also if it indeed came from him, also chronicling a number of issues that affected Dampare. But you see, me, one thing that I hate is that when you have the power, you don't allow Dampare to go out of office before you come and write long letter. It's bogus. You were the chairman of that committee. There was a huge allegation that even bribes were paid. And that is why, as we speak, that report is never out. When you listen to the testimonies of the witnesses, what was your impression about the police? Particularly the testimony that came from COP Alex Mensah. Openly accusing the IGP on live television that he had destroyed the police service. ACP Agojo, I have been on a set radio program with him and Bright Odro, openly telling the world how IGP Dampare, and at that time IGP Dampare was still in power. They told him that you have dismantled the police, you have destroyed the police. IGP could not utter a word. This was not here say I was sitting with them on a live show at Cry FM.
So you are repeating what is
exactly
in the public domain.
And if they say Odenche comes from under the seabed to come and tell you that the fish is dead, how would you disagree? Especially when the IGP could not rebut some of the things that they were saying. So people should know the time to leave the scene. I thought after the elections, he would willingly resign. That is what people do, because the signs were clear. It was just a matter of that, just like the Chief Justice who is lurking around. Signs are clear that you have to put in your resignation. If I were the electoral commissioner, on the basis of Ablekuma not, but now your resignation letter must be there. Let's build that quota of voluntarily resigning.
Self-dignity.
Self-dignity. Don't let people push you. Extrajudicial killings. If you are going to open that file, I'm telling you, we will have a diplomatic brawl with Nigeria. If you are going to open that file, well, find out what has happened to the welfare money of the police. They have a welfare fund. Now, when a police person applies for that welfare, it can take you 5 years. Whether or not they're receiving money is another matter. A lot has happened. This morning I was reading, someone said, oh, if a lot of people do not like you, it means you were doing something right. That's why you were instilling discipline. Who told you? You can instill discipline and you'll be loved. Because at the end, the reality will dawn. You can't have a police service that are so troubled. I mean, they are afraid to speak their minds. When they are speaking, they will be watching their shoulders. Who is coming? Because he has set up spies within. The moment they report you, that's the end of you. That is the end of you. Regional commanders were not able to act. District commanders were not able to act. But you see, I have this piece of advice for the new IGP. I am also not happy that openly people are jubilating. Because you see, you were part of the problem. All these things that were happening, you should have been bold
to demonstrate
against it. To let the president that appointed him understand that you have given, yes, you have the power to appoint, but the person is destroying the institution. It is not Dampare Police, it is the Ghana Police Service, and so the institution represents the state and not the individual. And the individual cannot be stronger than the state. So what were you doing? All ye that are now jubilating. He brought a lot of arrogant, what do you call it? Police station officers. And so one of them is this Tesano guy here. One day I will deal with that subject matter. So arrogant. They don't respect anybody in the system. So arrogant. And no, police people, when we come to your station, you don't have that. You didn't behave as though they are on top of the world.
And when you are driving and they want to stop you.
So IGP Dampare, if I were him, I would be saddened. I'm not dead. I'm only 54 years old. And seeing the way people are jubilating, I will be hurt. That so I had all these enemies around me. he has to go back, sit down, and do self-introspection. What and what did he not do, and what did he do that caused all these things? Because as it is, he can still have a very formidable position somewhere in future. You can never say never.
Yeah.
So that given the opportunity another time, he would be able to serve his institution very well.
Right.
The new IGP must take a cue from it and apply the rules and regulations, the Police Act, to the letter. It is not that that barrier has gone, is no more, so you are also coming to set up your clique in the system to victimize the very issues that some have complained of. It cannot happen. I saw a gentleman throwing our money, but I should have picked that gentleman in a team. You are throwing Ghana City like that, just like that, because a new IGP has come. No, we can't be doing that. So that party going is a good omen for the police, but whether or not he will be missed will depend on how well the new IGP behaves. Because you know, Ghanaians missed former President Mahama, and the reason he's the president today because of how bad former President Kufuor managed the economy. The police administration will miss Dampari depending on how good or bad Yonu will continue. If he is able to put his foot down, you know, age is also not on his side. He is getting 60 this year. And maybe he will be given an extension. You understand? By in policing, if you are an IGP and you are on extension, the power is reduced. But people know that you are on your way out. So you don't want to offend.
Insubordination is...
Exactly. So that is why the difficulty is. But if he's going to be made a stopgap leader so that a substantive one is brought to come and reform policing. Mind you, we have moved from the Ghana police force
to police service.
A lot of them have not moved from that mentality of force to service. Everything has to be brute.
Yes. A legacy of colonialism.
And imperialism.
Yes.
And that is where I believe that the new IGP has a Herculean task, but it is not unsurmountable. He can easily do it when he decides to serve with honesty and allows the structures to work. Let everyone behave within the confines of the Police Act, and I tell you, he will be the best IGP. He should not come and repeat buying of plantain on the street, kenko on the street, dancing. That is not policing. As an IGP, you must not even expose yourself. I mean, it's a security institution.
With a whole crew.
Then you have a camera on you. That camera could have been going around identifying crime scenes and giving us that information. You alone.
On 6 March.
It's a mark of failure.
On 6 March was.
On 6 March, you see, one general
traffic.
Yeah.
Anytime you see a leader leading to be cleaning gutters, it's a mark of failure. It's not, you understand? Because you have structures. You have MTTD boss. It is his job to make sure that traffic flows. Once you have the IGP himself directing, it means the MTTD boss has failed. What the service should have queried that person. It's a mark of failure. You get my point. So some of us will welcome the new IGP, but we only watch and see the professionalism that he will introduce into the service and make sure that deserving officers that qualifies for promotions are given. He must allow their PR outfit to work. He must allow all structures to work so that Ghana will reap the benefit of that. After all, he will also leave just like Danbury has left. Someone will come, our children will also come and occupy that place. It is not for them. You are only transiting, and Ghana police service cannot be theirs. It's not your personal baby. And that is why those of you who have been put in charge of various places, your arrogance levels must go down. I want it here.
Thank you, Mr. Solomon Owusu. Dr. Marzuk, let's hear from you, please.
First of all, I thank the IGP for the services rendered to the Republic of Ghana. And let me also be fair to him. He is, in isolation, a gentleman, well-educated, knowledgeable, and perhaps handsome. So we love him, we admire him, and we would have wished him to have applied the knowledge and the professionalism in his tenure as IGP. However, he led two lifestyles in his tenure as IGP. Two lifestyles. The life of liberalism in the public and the life of authoritarianism in the service.
That was the problem.
Complete authoritarian. Complete. You know, psychologically, it speaks a lot for your subordinate to gather courage. A subordinate in the service, police service, somehow regimental, to gather courage to come up publicly to accuse you.
That was serious.
It speaks a lot.
Serious.
And if the regime didn't want to manipulate the whole narrative, I'm telling you, the IGP would have been fired a long time. He would have been fired before elections. But I strongly believed that the regime also examined the implication of dismissing the IGP within the context of electoral fortunes.
Yeah.
And that was why the regime allowed the IGP to stay till the end of the elections. Jalil.
Yeah.
And I will also refer to Jalil.
Yeah.
Jalil and Co. Yes, they fought him. Undermined. They wrote a lot of, especially the extrajudicial killings.
Yes, he wrote a lot about it.
And my problem with IGP is that you are a lawyer, a trained lawyer, and you think that extrajudicial killing is an appropriate weapon of service. I think that should be investigated.
Yes.
And they are bold. They are bold. Extrajudicial killings in an era of constitutional democracy should not be entertained. Ghana is not a jungle. We are not making fresh allegations. We are repeating what is already in the public domain. So the IGP didn't do his work very well. Then promotions. In service, especially in police service, in a service that lives on discipline, right? If you promote juniors above seniors, you are breeding indiscipline. Yeah. And once indiscipline sets in, you'll be talking of inefficiency. IGP did that. Now let's even go beyond his operative arena. My good brother here and I have always been emphatic on the need for the police to act on the high-profile, politically motivated cases, from the Techiman barbarity to the Ayawaso brutality. How many times did the IGP speak on that issue, on those issues? He didn't. He didn't. So after all, he was also in the manipulation of the regime. Yeah. He didn't. We have all the time called for the IGP to update the nation on what has been done, because you can claim that maybe it's under investigation. Yeah. Let us know the level of investigation. He never did anything. Abozo, yeah, a fine gentleman, another intellectual in the police service, was mistreated with impunity. The IGP couldn't come to his defense. So many people. So, my brother, I still respect the intellectualism of the IGP. I still admire him as a very knowledgeable person. But The knowledge is one thing, and the application of the knowledge is another. Once the knowledge has not been applied, it is next to ignorance. And I strongly believe that the IGP should have himself resign before this embarrassment. Let me join my brother to caution those celebrating the fall of IGP. It's not the best. Look, Ghanaians should not be behaving as if we cherish vindictiveness. No. You could be victims of IGP, but please let forgiveness rule your reaction, and let your conscience rule your reaction. You may not know what will follow. Let me sound scriptural here. The Holy Quran tells us, "Asa an takrahu shay'an wa huwa khayrun lakum, wa asa an tuhibbu shay'an wa huwa sharrun lakum." It is possible for you to hate something which is rather good for you, and it is also possible for you to love something which is rather bad for you. So please, they should moderate their reaction to what has happened to IGP. We don't hate the IGP. We are only complaining about his manner of unprofessionalism. We don't know when he will change. IGP, my word for you is that God has given you knowledge. You are a qualified lawyer. You can abandon the police service, go to legal practice. You are a PhD holder. You can join us in academia. I strongly want to believe that most institutions that try to bridge the gap between the industry and academia will want people like you because you have the experience. Please, you have a lot of opportunities. Don't allow anybody to dampen your spirit. And take this as an opportunity for improvement. In fact, every misfortune is a fortune, depending on how you look at it. Let me advise the police service and the new IGP to concentrate on improvement rather than vindictive agenda against the so-called admirers of the outgone IGP within the system. That cannot help. Vindictiveness has never been a solution. And let all of us Ghanaians, because we are all people expected to have a role in the maintenance of security, let all of us see the fall of the IGP as a lesson that will guide us in our service to the state. Let me conclude by an adage in Arabic. الشكر عند العطاء والصبر عند البلاء. That is gratitude in times of prosperity and patience in times of adversity.
Right.
Let that rule. Let that be the guiding principle of IGP. Let that be the guiding principle of those opposing the IGP, and let that be the guiding principle of all the people of the Republic of Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before we go, I'll do a few more messages. I have so many of them. Hello, Bless. Good morning to you and your panelists. Now, looking at the demeanor of Ken Ofori-Atta reminds me of a proverb: the frown on the face of a goat does not prevent the owner from pricing it at the market. To it, Ghanaians are not happy either. Our pension monies, we are dying, and he has money to go overseas for treatment. Our ancestors must hear this from Mr. Ahiale and Akachi. Thank you for your message. Before you go to bed, this is a biblical. Okay, Psalm 19 verse 13. Okay, I've heard you. I'm back. I was in primary 4. I'm now 68. Okay, so Mr. Samuel Ansari comes back to say
that's fine.
He's now 68 years old.
Then his account of being in primary 4, when all
We took it as 4 years old.
4 years.
So we miscalculated.
Yeah.
So we miscalculated.
Yeah, so
we thank God for the
say it's not
long life.
He said, at least only the achievement of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah on a 4-page pamphlet handout distributed free of charge will educate the youth and the public a lot and defeat the attempt to undermine Nkrumah's legacy. Remember, they banned and banned all his books in our schools and the public. Alhaji Mazouk, you and I are starting this project by appealing for funds for the project. Okay. He's putting you on by
yes, and the banning is what I refer to as intellectual genocide. Okay. The banning of the books of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. But I call it intellectual genocide. So I'm happy to be part of that program.
He said, I'm giving 200 cedis as a pensioner teacher as seed money.
Okay.
How much will you give, Alhaji? We'll give the money to Kwesi Pratt to begin this project. Don't say no, Alhaji. Bless. If you agree, give me the number to which to send my money to Kwesi.
Don't worry, my number is always on the screen. 0244-755402.
Right. I'll send it to him so that you can have that engagement. Thank you so much. We are glad to hear from you.
And I'm happy both of us are teachers.
Exactly.
Yes. As a retired teacher, and a functioning lecturer.
That's true. All right. Bless, good morning. This is Odia Sempa from Takrade. I want you to use your good platform to inform the NDC government that Ghanaians are not stupid and the youth are getting angry day by day because of the delay and the game they are playing with our minds concerning those who have stolen from us. The national cake that's for all of us is just for a few. Can't we also send our children to abroad for better schools too? Okay, thank you. Bless, my warmest regards to Dr. Mazouk, my Tupac.
Evan, thank you.
Cute heart and brilliant submission as always. But so what were the militants looking for during the election? This is Eben, the red suit army. Okay. Thank you, Eben, for your message. Good morning, Bless. Please tell Mr. Solomon Owusu that I love to listen to him anytime he comments on national issues. I'm Godwin Aite from Isutuare Junction. Okay, thank you, Godwin. Solo has said he is grateful. Good morning, Bless, and your panelists. OSP should act fast with this Kent issue for the fact that all his businesses were frozen at tier 2 contributions managed by his firm are also gone. It's sad. This matter for some of us who have some small investment with enterprise. Have some small. They've been calling me sometimes. I'm afraid.
It's not easy.
Right. A very good morning to you, Pan-African TV, and your wonderful panelists. Pan-African TV is loud and clear here in NKC. That is Nadali Kalio, in the Upper West region. What the MPP don't know is that anytime they come to power, we the people of the North feel neglected. Bless, come and see how terrible the Wawenchi Road is. 8 years the MPP didn't do anything about it. Okay. Alhaji Hamza from Pig Farm, I think I've already read that. I've already done justice to your message. Good morning. It's good to have a new airline to end the stigma of the only one without airline in West Africa. I was lucky to fly on Ghana Airways, which was run down by the NPP. And we hope the new airline will not suffer the same fate when the vandals come back, since they are fond of destroying state institutions like Snates Bank, Trade Fair, Ghana Telecom, State Bungalows, Passport Office, hospitals, even forest reserves and water bodies. God save Ghana from these nation wreckers. Thank you, Ken Williams. I'll do this final message. It's coming from Indebugri George from Wa. Good morning, Bless. I support Dr. Mazouk 100%. The OSP's head would have been held high in the way he handled the Cecilia Dapa case. But see what happened. He failed. He should go with his office. George in the degree. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Solomon Owusu. Thank you, Dr. Mazouk. Always a pleasure to have you on a Monday. And to our cherished viewers, I wish you the very best for this week. Attack the week with vim.
Yeah.
Yes, and to reap what you would sow this week is what you would reap next week. So please work hard, and I wish you the very best. Have a pleasant week. Bye-bye.
truly African.